Okay, Yahuah, so this is before the thing I recorded earlier. And I'm going to put a petition up here online for Middletown, Delaware. Because when you look up and do the research, when I looked up and did the research to find credible sources, it said the whole state of Delaware, the entire state of Delaware, had less than 3.4% of Pride community, the alphabet community. Why do I bring this up again today? Because of the divinations that was going on between these markets in Wilmington and Middletown. And of course, today, one of the managers in the back was communicating on the phone on FaceTime with the manager in the Wilmington store. Just as the reminder of when people were saying they're the silent majority and they're part of a tight-knit community. And even one of the staff members who used to wear Muslim garb now no longer wears it. And the response was that, she doesn't have those beliefs. That could be the influence of the friends that she has now or the people that she associates with at work. I don't know if she ever goes out with them outside of work, because to me that wouldn't be a true friend, or if she just associates with those people while she's at work. Anywho, I've talked with a person before about that, about people at the hospital, like they worked in the hospital. Their parent tells them, that doesn't make people your friend just because you communicate at work. Like, even with people who spend time outside of work. I remember a couple of years ago, was it still during? No, it was after COVID. There was this young guy who had posted online who invited at least 10 friends out to dinner, and no one showed up, and he was there by himself. He paid for everything. It wasn't like they had to pay, but they didn't come. So, anywho, it reminds me of that. But I bring this up because I have posted online, right? And the affiliation with putting on the main street at a church, which is supposed to be for humanitarian service, human services, supposed to be a place where they address the needs of community, address the needs of displaced persons, and all of these other things, because there's I think the friendship house is on the other side of it. And not only that, they're supposed to be a place that represents Christ, right? Because it's called that. But anyway, it's a church called Church on Main for an example. And it's one of the part of the historic areas of Middletown, Delaware. And if you look back at old photos I had posted on another place, it hasn't changed much, the physical appearance of that main street in 120 years. Well, that's an area where they have the Everett Theater and things that other small towns do every year, like play movies like A Wonderful Life around the Christmas time, or have other things that represent the traditions where they do the Peach Festival, or gifts fairs, and where you have local community vendors and stuff go to these things and have a table and they do vending, or you see local representatives there. Well, they're advocating for what? The only two flags hanging on that church, they don't have a Delaware flag, they don't have a Middletown flag, they don't have a all together flag. And I know some people say, well, the flag with the triangle, it's not really a triangle, but it's supposed to represent all people, and then on the other side is Black Lives. Well, if I was or somebody and was just like, well, white lives matter too, why do you only have that? Or, well, what about other flags that represent Ukraine? Or what about flags that represent Hispanics? Or what about flags that represent Caribbean people? Or what about flags that represent... There's a whole host of flags that could be up there. As the United Nations, a global thing, but no, they don't have that. They only have two. And it often shows a person, it's just like if it was an ostrich flag, or if it was a swastika, or if it was a Confederate flag, or if it was a lot of different things that represent what a person believes. If you put something, if you were to put a sticker on and it said, my name is so-and-so, and that represents what you believe. and what you're advocating for. So you're telling me in the whole main street, and anyone that comes and visits to come through, these are the two main things that you advocate for. And as a person, when I bring up the representative, because you're supposed to represent this place. And if I go to your platform to show what you are, when you're campaigning, what it is you are advocating for, and you're telling me you're advocating for things that are the opposite of what this town and this community was founded upon, then that's going to let me know your desire isn't to prosper families. If I see people in need and there's opportunities and programs and I don't, if I understand that instances even in my own family or people I encountered that there was sabotage by political individuals, if I know that even language and words that I use, you yourself stole and used for your platform. Like, if I know that you're untrustworthy, a thief, a plagiarizer, just different things like that, or you partake with people who do, then I would be like, you're not sent by Elohim to be in a position to care for the livelihood of people. If I know, for example, that you advocate for the pride community, but hey, you said, what about education? What about parents? But you are part of a group of people sabotaging and or being notified of, or even on the rumor wheel hearing about it and never addressed a senior and her children and her grandchildren being displaced. Then, as they would say in Wilmington when we used to go volunteer, vote according to their actions and what they've done. Then I wouldn't let you or anyone you associate with, whether they are white or black, if I know that you've heard about things that are going on with police officers between the black and white community, even today, this morning, the person that showed up in a work vehicle, he was a white man. The other person that showed up in another truck. Last night, the young guy, he was a black man. But I had assault from people from the Asian community? No. Whether they have been Indian, whether they have been Korean, whether they have been Japanese, whether they have been Chinese, I haven't. And I haven't had assault from people from other certain Eastern countries, even with regard to people who are German and otherwise. When I'm on my way to a place yesterday, it was so many ethnicities. This area, the place I'm on my way to right now was historically known for being a racist town. And now there are even more ethnic groups and ethnic nations in this community, and that just came on a Sunday. I was just like, from every nation basically was there yesterday. But and what was the atmosphere? No contentions, no issues, no you versus us, this versus that, or pride versus heterosexual people. We didn't have that battle. We didn't have that concern. And there wasn't a bunch of paraphernalia for pride people or anything like that hanging up. It wasn't a bunch of attack and assault. But it's like, the Wilmington store for Sprouts, when I first started going in there as a vendor, they didn't have that flag hanging up in the fridge and stuff where employees go. It was after a while that they started hanging that up in there. And on the street, on the church on Main, didn't have the pride flag, nor the Black Lives Matter flag hanging up on Main Street. It's funny because Main Street, across on that same street, you have a Mediterranean restaurant. And on the other side, on the next block, is a Middle Eastern restaurant. And on the same block, you have business owners who are Asian, business owners who are Hispanic. And on the next block, you have a lot of Hispanic people who live on that street. Neither one of those flags fully even encompass any of those individuals. And it's okay for them to represent that, and it's okay for us to know as people who come in, as people who visit, as people who are residents, to see like, oh, this is what you stand for. Thank you for putting it on the front so I know not to. It's like when I go to the see the tattoo shop, it says tattoos and it has images, or the hair shop has images, so you know before you walk in there what they represent. When at the anime shop, and the anime characters in the windows. So I'm like, oh, great. Thank you for noticing and letting me know. But thank you also for letting me know that you are a church and this is what you represent. But the additional issue with that specific place is connected with the Friendship House and these other things that are supposed to be community programs. That's the concern with that. But it is going to be exclusive to those people that they are focused on. When I was in Sprouts Market in Wilmington, they put a pride flag in the refrigerator, making it say, we are exclusive to pride people in here. Did they verify that with the CEO of the company? Did they verify that with other, because when you go there, they say that they were, and I went through the interview process with them too, and so they're like, oh yeah, we accept people, we allow them to be who they are. That's not true. If you're putting one flag to represent one group of people and you have all different nationalities work at your store, that seems very passive aggressive. Very passive aggressive and very, oh, we're going to intimidate. This is our territory. That's not righteous because none of you own that store. And though your manager is a part of the Pride community, though you have several managers a part of the Pride community, it doesn't say on the Sprouts company that we're exclusively for Pride people. We only hire for Pride and we exclusively make it for Pride. They could do that, absolutely. I don't think anyone will be offended. And if you really are that, people shouldn't be like, if I go to a mosque or if I go to a school that's specifically Montessori, specifically whatever it is, like, oh, specifically this is for law. You're not going to come here and learn about farming at a place that's about law. But just letting them know when they claim to be inclusive, you're very much making yourself exclusive, and you're very much saying, well, this is our territory. And on better note, when I said they weren't welcome on this channel, who made you to know about this channel? Who made you to know about this channel so that you can be offended by knowing that I am for the scripture, and the scripture says homosexuality sends you away from Elohim? That anyone who is that's not accepted into the kingdom of heaven, which is why I don't approve of it, because Elohim doesn't approve of it. And so if you already know that I believe the scripture and you don't like that verse, you don't like the many of verses that say that, then you know this space isn't for you. And for you to come on here anyway, are you deliberately trying to create contention and dissension? Are you deliberately trying to cause issues and problems within the community with me, when you already know I'm not for you? I'm not for you in the regard of your lifestyle and your choice. I'm not for you with regard to the scriptural belief and you don't agree with that. I'm not for you when this is the focus of this space and this platform is scriptural, historic, documented, trustworthy truth of belief that comes from the one true living creator and has never changed throughout all creation. So you already know that. However, you come on this platform. You come on this platform to do what? If you are a community representative, you are, every single person has the right to be informed, has the right to be aware of what is on your platform. Because you decided to represent the community. Whether you cheated your way there, whether you stole your way there, or whether you earned your way righteously through the people voting for you to be there. But if the people didn't vote, that's why I said the petition. I want to know what the people of Middletown genuinely want. Because I go into the stores, and even when I would do deliveries, I saw so many high school students with crosses on. I would go into the food restaurants, and these young guys were having a conversation about their faith. Nobody made them do that. Nobody initiated that. One young girl I know, like her jewelry was a gift from her grandparents. It was a gift from her grandparents, but these other young guys were having, and there were some that in their young 20s and stuff, in college age, and they were having a genuine conversation about faith and what they want to do, where they're going, and like doing this and doing that. And I'm like, oh, I've met students who are doing their continued education, bachelor's, master's, doctorates. I already told you, I met nurses. I met people who are going to continue in law or continue in other things. Like people who were asking me, even when I did the Amazon, and they worked in the tech space. They have big houses. They have Teslas. Oh, how is it for you doing this there? Like, what is it like? And I was like, man, is your work environment that not just stressful, but like unpurposeful, unfulfilling? I wondered, because I'm like, you're asking me about the flexibility of having the living flexible and doing what I need to do for the day versus you leaving, like where you work for as people, it's not true security, but let's say that the security of this lifestyle you have. And I was just like, wow. And I see all kinds of people, all kinds of business professionals, all kinds of people from different nationalities, dressed smart, as they would say in the UK, or dressed business professional or business casual. And I would just be like, wow, like, not surprised because I've seen it before, but just, in Delaware, I've seen it out around the world and up north and in certain cities. But anywho, so in addition to that, these people who have continually attacked me, right? They are working with other representatives. You've done, what's it called? Like interviews with them. And there's been news articles about people's lives, whether or not at times they went out and they were, recorded or on camera attacking or assaulting a woman or abusing a woman. And it's like the people know that, and it's not that you can't be forgiven of sin, but then I hear about even those same individuals or whatever being in relationships with teenagers, or even hearing about, principals having a relationship with children. Like, y'all condone that stuff? Y'all are attacking me, y'all condone that stuff? Even if you don't know if something is certain, you have the ability to have, especially as a person who's supposed to be a public servant, to investigate these things. You mean to tell me people could look into stuff regarding me or regarding my family or lie about it and sabotage us, but you can't go into an investigation of truth of, are there actual principals? Are there representatives in relationships as senators and different things with children? And why are you condoning it? And when they would used to attack me and call themselves a tight-knit community, are affiliated with all of these churches, all these representatives and stuff that would be in as senators, and these people that come in and out of places like Living Grace Cathedral Church. That's why when I was walking along Main Street for a festival, and they were like, come visit our church. No, I will not, because I saw all of the people that go there. And I know some of the things that they've done in the past that have been reported in a news journal, but also that I have literally heard from students at schools who go to school or are out of school or in the community. And it wasn't just I went off of the rumor mill, but when I saw photos of people, I heard testimonies of people, and I know they hear these things too. And if they go and investigate, you are going in and investigate concerning me, and go and investigate on the behalf of the safety of these children. That lets me know. And people wonder why I had to say what I said about people not facing me or you're raising your own children and grooming your own children to be a part of these pride communities. Because it's literally what you're doing. That's literally what you're advocating for. And they say to me, you don't have the whole matter. What? Your affiliation with certain churches, even Reach Radio, is no longer Christian radio, but gospel radio. And the church is affiliated with that. It's not just a black versus white thing. It's the African churches and this and that. But even those people who invited me to certain events, they were some of the people doing witchcraft. And they're like, why you don't want? I don't want nothing to do with them because I know they're doing witchcraft. And I'm not going to be silent about it and not tell somebody else of, hey, be mindful that they're doing that. If you go there, you're a partaker. You might be having that done on you too. It's not okay. And people are like, it's not okay for you to just be saying all of this stuff. I'm supposed to just, Elohim holds me accountable. If I know something and I don't warn somebody. If I did know there was potential people doing these things to children and I never said anything, like this isn't like, oh, we're investigating something that might have happened 70 years ago. Not to say that that doesn't matter. Not to say that cold cases don't matter. But I'm talking about here and now things that teenagers, elementary school students, middle school students, high school students, college students are talking about or have. Even with regard to not just wages, but even with regards to, I think that's appalling in regards to having certain international programs, and there are people who it's supposed to be an agreement and they're not honoring that. I've experienced that myself going overseas on assignment. And there's supposed to be accountability in certain ways. So I'll talk about the pressures of different things, but I speak on things for the awareness and for the mindfulness, and to say I'm not in agreement with X, Y, and Z. And when I heard that this was taking place, I still wasn't in agreement, and I'm still not in agreement, and I'm not going to act like it's all peachy keen, because it's not. It's like one of the churches in Wilmington, the individual said they moved there from Seattle and had an issue because their child's friend is a part of the pride community. So they didn't because I had shared a resource from Moms for Liberty about, they were doing a free course. It was a free course. It's like I shared the free course for biblical citizenship, and no one wanted to do it and have it at their church or learn about it, because it was giving information on the founding fathers' personal journals of their times and different things like that. For example, one of the examples, their personal journals and their personal writings and their personal perspectives on why they were creating the Declaration of Independence, and during that time, the things that they had to say about it, their actual words, their actual account. So when I talk about the children, I'm talking about children's actual account. I'm not talking about just, it's just from the rumor, but like, what? You said this, you experienced, or you went here and this happened, what? Or this is still, or you're in school now and this is going where? I'm not talking about, and it's like, you could say, it's hearsay, but then when people have pictures of, I went here on this trip with my friends, or my friends do this, or some of these guy friends get together and have sexual relations with each other, or this or that. Like, there is a lot of things that children need to be not just guarded and trained, but it's like these other people wanted to attack me about the pride. You're adults. And just because some of them experience trauma throughout life, or experience trauma in high school, or experience trauma through the Glee Club, or experience traumas in certain situations, and you're like, you hurt my feelings. But look beyond yourself and realize this is not about just hurting your feelings. That's why I continue to say, I don't. It's not that feelings are insignificant, but in the grand scheme of you're doing witchcraft attacks and hurting and sabotaging and harming people and interfering with their resources because they don't like your lifestyle. They hurt your feelings. How is that an example for bullying inside of schools? Or being passive aggressive by holding up flags? You mean to tell me this is the stuff y'all are doing as adults? These children are experiencing that in schools, and where did they learn it from? From you. From you. From you and the entertainers who do that as adults and put that stuff on TV as well and social media. But then you tell the children it's not appropriate and it's bullying and it's not right, but y'all are adults doing that at work. That's not acceptable. Anywho, in addition to that, when I've said I'm recording at work, my things that I do require, I'm in a vehicle right now, but it requires me to document, and I already repeatedly said that. People see me documenting all day long, and I actually have said many of times when I'm recording, whether or not they hear me. Sometimes people say hello, and I say hello, and they don't say anything back or acknowledge, or I'll say something to them. And a lot of times people have said to me, "Your voice is so soft," or "I didn't hear you." And it's likewise. Sometimes not for listening to other music or a podcast or something, or speaking with other people regarding work. Is it not that I don't hear a person or they don't hear me? Sometimes it is just the tone. Nonetheless, I'm like, people hear about or know about these things, and yet you're still keeping people in office, in positions, condoning it, a part of it, partaking, and tell yourself, sometimes I meant well, I was advocating for my kid, but like, were you really? Was that really for their good, for their health, for their well-being, for their safety, for their protection? For anybody who experienced harm throughout their life, or especially things when they were in an innocent and vulnerable state or age, and then to go and later in life have these adults and stuff do certain things like this, and then you say, "Oh well, I wanted you to know what I felt," or with a silent majority, or we're a tight-knit community. You are literally teaching, showing people, and teaching and doing and taking that same actions that were done, that traumatize you, if it's what you want to call it, abuse you, and not just do it to other people, but you are teaching at to other adults and children. They're like, well, you're coming on here and exposing. Yeah. Do you see me carrying around? I don't even carry around my seats everywhere. I mean, on my clothing. Though the scripture says, and I have a right to, and I can have it inside, but like on the exterior so that you see it, just to spark up conversation. Or I don't, and it said tie the word around your head. I don't necessarily put a headband and wrap with the name of Yahuah, which I have a right to do, on my forehead everywhere I go. I can have it woven through the thread on my stuff and you not even know it. But I don't have to go out here and put it in like a billboard just to see it, just to do what? And whether, if even when people do have billboards. My point is, like, yeah, they're out here doing divinations and sabotage and wicked things and trying to pretend that it's not wicked, but all the while knowing evil works that other people have done, the people that they work with, the people they say that are in a tight-knit community with, that they're friends with, or oh, the black community and white community. Oh, I'm a representative. I got black and white friends. I got sorority sisters, and I got all these white people in the community. We were working together. We are all moms. Oh, remember when they were attacking me? They were like, oh, I know somebody at Moms for Liberty too. Well, why are you contacting them if you say you hate them and you hate their agenda? Why would I go to be informed? Why would I go to public meetings to be informed about what was happening? Because all of these shenanigans. To know, one, who not to associate with and who not to vote for. To know that you were friends with a man as you, the representative of Middletown, you are friends with a man. I know, and I've seen you in fiddles and everything together. Friends with a man who was loitering out front of my sister's house. In that very day in 2022, during Thanksgiving time, when I was leaving that next day, he was loitering out front of a house around the vehicle. And that very within the 24 hours of going out, there was an accident that took place. Like, what are you doing out front of this person's house, loitering in and around their vehicle? Oh, but people don't want me to say stuff like that. Like, I don't know that you are friends or associates with these people. Or like, I don't know sabotage that happened within the school district and other things didn't have any association to do with you. No one would think it was a coincidence that you went and took a paraprofessional job the year after I did, or months or whatever after I did, at the same school. And it's not a gripe with you, it's a gripe with the people who are advocating for you and telling me they're attacking me because of you, or because of the pride community, or because of my spouse, or anything like that. Like, attacking me for different people, or attacking you just because of what you said, but then they don't have the whole matter of, well, we didn't know that there were these things happening to students, or happening to young adults, or happening to these people, because you were so worried about your feelings. You were so worried about attacking me about your feelings. And they're like, you don't know about, nobody cares about Middletown, Delaware. The whole world has stuff going on. Yeah. But then when other people see and they're like, you know, we do have other things going on in the world. Other things are happening in the world. The same things that happen in your town. The same things that happen where you are. And we also need to advocate for ourselves, or have advocates, or not be silent about evil and watch the evil swallow up the good. I was like, I'm over people acting like these people are just nicey nice and, oh, we've done this, or we brought this, or we brought that. And it's like, anywho, you want to attack me because y'all adult feelings. But what about the children that you're perpetuating that to? Or what about the children that are currently being harmed or in harm's way? What about the children that are exposing themselves to being in relations with their so-called friends just because, oh, we wanted to try it, we wanted to explore, or the pressures of the world, or society says it's okay, or I don't want to be a virgin, so I'm gonna, males is having relations with male friends, females, and all these other things. Why should that be? Or why I'll act like that just happens in projects or trap or hood communities or cities? Well, this isn't a city. Oh, it's just a small town thing. Oh, it's just a middle class thing. It's a lower class thing. It's a poor people thing. Clearly not. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, well, maybe the president was an example, being from Delaware, and the things that their own child got into and were a part of. And their parent, okay, yeah, no, people weren't surprised that your parent pardoned you. But was that necessarily righteous, or was that okay to continue to show that to, not just to the world, but to other people? I'm not saying you haven't put away with the evil since then, have you? And there are people like, that's why we're trying to do better as a community. We're doing more, we're doing better. And yet there are people who are genuinely like, no, we're not just, well, you don't think about the consequences of what you're doing. That's what we're trying to tell you. You also got to think about the consequences of your actions. You also got to address your behaviors and your word and different things like that. Yeah, I do. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't have a right to be angry and even get to the point of yelling at somebody who's been doing divinations against me daily. For what? Almost 2 years? Before I even said anything. You know her, the representative, your friend, There was a vision, a dream of one night your friend, the other representative, coming to me and trying to have a conversation with me and trying to come against me, and then bringing another person like, look, she's here and she's that. So y'all were all of these times attacking me earlier on before I even said anything. And now other people were like, you're supposed to endure for X, Y, and Z. No, I'm not. Politicians traumatizing one another, doing these behaviors and doing these strange things that shouldn't be. Like, no. You supposed to be like leaders of churches and different things like that, and perpetuated and bringing them people in there and all of that kind of stuff too. No. All of the stuff that she said about y'all, whatever. I'm not going off of, you're just going off of hearsay. Like I said, when people have their testimony and witness in it, not just, I just came up with this witness, I wasn't sure completely what happened, but this is the day the relationship started. They were this age, it was at this time, it was at this place in this location, or they're doing it for X, Y, and Z. Even for somebody to do something to climb a ladder. Like, even when people hear that. I remember when some people were appalled and had an issue of different men. Like, you're with that young person, and it's like, it's not like these men who went with younger people were walking biblically, walking righteously, or walking with not just honor and integrity, but walking with taking care of, like covering and keeping and just being well with women and stuff. And then you just see them to be in with relationships with younger women and different things. Is like, that's alarming. And no, we're not just going to allow it to happen as adults or parents, or even on the people's side who's supposed to be even friends of the males. Like, at times I wonder why even in these communities of Delaware, like, even especially with faith, like, okay, why aren't y'all, this man goes to a church, you at the church with him, why aren't y'all men as churchmen even holding them accountable? That's why we had addressed the churches and stuff before, like, and then they act like, well, it's no big deal, it's not what you think, or it's not righteous. That's what they're supposed to be there for. When they talk about brothers keepers, sisters keepers, and different things like that, and they ain't keeping their brothers, they ain't keeping their sisters, like, they ain't keeping their kids. Even if you heard of a young woman or young man prostituting themselves out, the kid might not even think of themselves as prostituting themselves out, giving themselves out so they could climb the ladder, corporate or otherwise. Like, you're just going to let that happen. You're not going to say nothing about it. You're not going to do nothing about it. Meaning, even if you could, even if you don't, even if the young child, the teen, the adult, the young, college student, university, even if they're older, younger, like, even if they're like, no, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You mean to tell me if you were at the church with that person, with the older person, you wouldn't say something to the older person? Not just about how it might impact their reputation, but how it is completely not in accordance with honoring Elohim. So that's why at times it's just like, these people want to attack me and fight me and think about these things, but it's like, that's why I was like, even with regards to the representative, you are a part of the community, you have a family, you grew up with family around you, like, I mean, like parents, you have people in sororities, though the sororities and fraternities follow demonic things, like, you have all of these groups and stuff. It's not like you were, and you mean to tell me none of these people covered and looked out of, like, you shouldn't be associated with this or doing this, associated with these people, or bringing your kids around this, or partaking in this, and like, you mean to tell me nobody was like, that's not biblical safety? Y'all claim Christianity that it wasn't, but nobody said anything about the biblical safety, the biblical welfare of the children. Even if you're president, right? Did the Obamas just allow their daughters to be exposed to every and anyone and every and anything as they were growing up and even into their adulthood. Like parents. I don't know righteous parents who would just allow their children to be exposed to any and everything. Even for political purposes, like, oh, you're going to come to every event. You're going to be at every photo op. You're going to be around every different group of community of people that I encounter. You're going to be on the campaign trail with me everywhere I go. Or if I was a musician, I'm on tour. You're at everything and involved in everything and experiencing everything. Am I going to allow you to experience the environments that I think are dangerous or harmful or questionable of, oh my gosh, even if I have a 2-year-old, I'm just saying this because my niece like literally was given an instruction one day and the next day she applied it. That's how quickly little kids, children and stuff are sponges. I could say my name and a child hear my name and then they start calling me by my name immediately rather than say Mrs. So-and-so. So to allow my children and then older people that might have experienced that and have had children and have gone through things, they didn't speak up to say, hey, like your kid, remember, children are sponges. Be mindful of what you put them around. They see you eating ice cream all crazy, they might eat it the same way. They see somebody licking something off the floor, a dog or whatever, they might mimic that. Do you think that's so acceptable or okay or like not something to be mindful of, not something to be addressed? So when I talk about the alphabet community and other things, I would not have my children on it. And I was just, it's concerning that the churches still to this day in that community and in other communities condone these representatives, these senators, these public servants and other people that just partake in certain things. I remember a person said to me was like, that's why I stepped down from my position, because even though I had repented in my life and it was no longer walking in the way that I used to walk, I was not visually representing the body of Messiah or the full household and a complete household and the oneness and one marriage of Messiah in the way that it should. And I didn't want children to associate that with that's okay and that's how they should be living. And so it was just like, even when people talked about whether or not Biden had a body double, though they didn't always have the same eyes and stuff, and whether he was forced to step down or fake signings and different things like that. And it was like, if you feel like you were no longer able to do the position, it's almost like when a father passes on the inheritance of the company to the child, the eldest child. I remember one of the podcasters said, this Middle Eastern guy, he said, guy from the East, he said, my youngest isn't the inheritor because they have not experienced some of the hardships and the challenges that my eldest have. When I was going through, my eldest witnessed me build the company and the hardships and things, and the youngest has reaped a lot of the benefits of an easier life. So I'm not going to put someone who was basically kind of more close to, even if it was a spoiled child, in a position to oversee because they don't understand the struggles and the importance of such a thing. He said, but the other one, I will put the other one who has witnessed the building that it took, the dirt, the groundwork, the hardship. Because not only will they have the appreciation, they'll have the understanding and they'll have the experience. They'll have more of a whole and complete, not just need, but yes, everything they need versus the other one who, and it's kind of a comparison of former generations to today's generation. if you have everything handed to you, or if you don't have to build anything by hand, or if you don't have to create anything by hand, and everything's just so easily accessible. But I was just like, these older generations and seniors know certain things, and not that they shouldn't be passing on along to the younger generation. They should, to the things, to the wisdom, to the knowledge, to the understanding. And not, it doesn't mean that all the younger generation wants to hear what they have to say. And at the same time, it is appalling to be like, for me, that's why I don't go to certain churches or different things that are associated with certain things. Because if Elohim has given me a standard, and even if seniors are telling me, oh, you could go out here and get remarried, you could go out here and have babies with other people, you could go out here and go on dates with other people, you could go out here and fornicate, oh, you don't have to do that, right? Oh, you take it too long on that, it's okay, just finish it up real quickly, just do whatever. If they're giving me example, whether they're young or old, senior or not, to be contrary to the word, like, I'm not going to partake in that. So that it doesn't just apply to the pride community, the alphabet community, the churches, blacks or whites. That's anyone and anything. But the poll was with regards to, what do the people of Middletown really desire? And not just desire, what do they need? One, you have what Elohim says that people need. Two, you have his perfect desire and you have what they desire, and you have what people want. But what is it really what people need? According to Elohim, if you have a greater standard to measure by that is for the benefit of all people, I would use that as the standard. That's why I like to use Elohim's standard. I know Mr. Kirk used to talk about that all the time with regards to on this, when he used to do that whole prove me wrong. But like, I remember seeing a clip about him saying, historically, haven't nations done better when they have been under the, I'd say, commitment to the Almighty Creator? Historically, it has been done better for all people, for the people to be under an agreement to uphold scripture versus having different measures and different different ideals to live by. The more things you have, the more dilute, the more pollute, like Solomon. The more women he got, the more diluted, the more polluted he got, the further away from Elohim he became. When he remained one in singleness of mind, and as Elohim had desired, one man with one woman, he was closer. That was the closest he was to the Father. The more he added, the further away. Now, a person can be reconciled completely and repentant and walking away like Hoshea's wife, and not be turned out again. She wasn't turned out again. Neither was Miriam of Magdala. But she also chose not to marry because she was only in love with one man. But anyway, though he was a married man, I'm putting it out there like, my desire is to do the desire of Elohim and have his standard be the standard. And I asked the question, Elohim, what do the people need? I know we could do a petition, we could take a poll and say, well, what is it that you want to see in your community? Do you want your community to still remain founded on family value, family tradition, and some of the things historically of the town, not racism, not colorism, not corporate greed, but family, taking care of families. And I don't mean, oh, you just showing any old thing because, well, we're a family because we have fun with each other and we like, yeah, anybody can be a family. These 17-year-old friends hanging out at the park, smoking weed could be family. But does that mean that we want, is not that is illegal in instances, or is it illegal for your age? I'm just saying, it doesn't mean that. Now, they're like, oh, you're throwing shade to people who smoke weed. Is that best for your brain development and for your growth, for your memory more than anything? Or for your initiative? Like, you might be using it because your life, things might be hard and heavy and difficult to handle. But learning how to manage it, and I just saw something about that too, of regulating and managing your emotions. But like, then when it comes for you to actually do work, like if you're going to on your own work or if you go to school, having the stamina, endurance, like whatever you need, initiative to actually do that. I know marijuana doesn't affect all people in the same way. I'm just using that as an example. Because again, I've witnessed that. And children, yes, children, high school and other, have it talked to me about, expressed to me about the appeal to them, why they use it, what they do, and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying what they have witnessed to me. Like, I didn't have the experience, so anyhow, I utilized their wisdom that they gave me. But it's something to consider. A petition, the standard, and remembering, like, that's why I'm like, I'm not here for them in that. Like, adults sitting here attacking me about a pride community, adults attacking me because, well, you expose that we don't make enough at work. Wouldn't part of that be for the benefit of families? That, hey, if you sitting here telling people they need to make 3 times the rent, but you're accepting people who only got 1.5 times or 2 times, then you need to make that equal for all people. Not because, oh my gosh, they need to kick you out. They're not kicking you out. That's not what we said it for. Oh, will you expose us to hurt us, to harm us? No. To show that you can't show favoritism and be respectful of persons. Or say, oh, we're going to maintain that status quo. We only going to let the people in here that make sense to us. You have to have the fair standard. You set a standard and then you're not being fair by it. Like, that's not righteous. Or adjust the terms. Attacking me for these different things. Well, I don't like what you said and like your feelings. You don't have to. Stop coming on here anyway. 1, and 2, in the community, I'm not hanging out with you, so you won't never have to worry about that either. Why are you the one coming over here? And then blaming me that you don't like what I say, and you know you're never going to like what I say. With regards to belief in scripture. Anyway, shalom. Shalom, Elohim. Some people were upset. It's another day in the land of the living. Ooh, look at that sunrise over there. Still seeing the end of that. But some people were upset, like, oh, I waited all day. I thought you were going to post online. I'm still making sure. I put it up first, but I also still have to make sure all of the license plates are not there. Yesterday, I was on my way back from traveling, and I saw S. Moore's license plate again. This other lady. But she still had the same sorority cause on as the representative here in the town of Middletown. And I also went over to Southridge yesterday, and someone was like, oh, she's here. She came back to retaliate because they know they was doing witchcraft. And no, I didn't come to retaliate. Don't care about those people. So the person I was parked next to and used to park to before, the worker vehicle, he came over to where I was in a completely different place this morning. Oh, and he came over there this morning. And then after him, another truck. It was a white work vehicle with Baltimore. The location is from, and the information for the company is in Baltimore. So it was a white worker truck that came over there this morning. The other guy who used to pull on the other side with a little spark car. Well, the first time it seemed like, oh, people were looking out for you kind of thing. No, then every time they would come over, it'd be witchcraft. The other guy came over, and they were like, oh, somebody's looking out for you. They were wondering, no. Why would you go all the way out your way from a completely different side? when you're supposed to be going to work and doing all of that. Anyway, then the other person's truck, a gray truck came, and they came all this daggone witchcraft. All this kind of witchcraft. And then people were like, we're trying to help you get up. We're trying to help you do this. I don't need your help for you to wake me up. It looked like this truck right here in front of this, right here. I don't need your help for you to wake me up in the mornings. Elohim helps me do that naturally. Then they be wanting to put all of their heaviness and their witchcraft and their burden and their weights and their uncleanness. And all of this are correlated to the people still that came into agreement and of unrighteousness. They did the same thing the Nephilim have done. That's who they are. The leader of all of them, which it sounded like my cousin when he was like, we're all here. Well, we're going to be one big happy family. No, we're not, because you're a stranger to me. You always were a stranger. You're going to remain a stranger. You don't know me and you don't know them. And they're like, you never listen to us. You don't know what we're going through, because I'm not supposed to. I am not your parent, and I'm not assigned to not to weep with those who weep when he gives me, when Elohim directs me to do that. But you sitting here trying to constantly put somebody else's, and you're like, that's what you do to us as a leader or as a parent. It's your responsibility. If you've been given a position to preside over those people, that's one thing. They're like, you're supposed to be praying for all of these strangers that I don't know. Not in general, no. I get a prayer list every week of people to pray for. Elohim highlights to me every day. And that's why he said these people are walking in a spirit of deception. I don't care if you call yourselves relatives or community. Well, it's all of the Delaware community. No, it's not. Because you done brought up people from online, or you done brought up from people from overseas. And it's not my responsibility to constantly know what's going on with every single person, because I'm not Elohim. This person is constantly trying to do what only God is supposed to be doing. It is not your responsibility to know what's going on with every single person around the world, or every single person in the state. You're presiding over them, and you're supposed to do what is the welfare, the well-being of them, like David. But did Elohim even communicate with David every single day about every single person in his sphere of influence? Telling them about, oh, this person has an achy neck this morning. This person don't feel like get up going to work this morning. And making David feel everything that every other person was feeling? No. These people are doing witchcraft, talking about, I want you to feel my pain. I want you to know what I'm going through. You don't care about this or that. No, you want to be victim. You want people to feel pity for you. You don't even want empathy. You want pity. You want people to pity, but you make your choice and we make our choice. And everything I said before, and at every time and in this time, in context. In the context of what I'm specifically speaking about in the moment. It is not my responsibility to be like, oh my gosh, this person has an achy neck today. This person didn't feel like going into work today. You're supposed to be aware of what's going on around you. And if you have a camp of people, mindful. But look at the example of Moses. Look at the example of David. Look at the example of Joseph. The people came and asked. Face to face. They came in a human way. They didn't do witchcraft like Saul did, went to a medium and woke Samuel from his sleep. That is unrighteous. And Samuel was sleeping. He wasn't resting. When we are resting upon the earth, even more so, you're not supposed to be coming and doing witchcraft of, I want wise counsel, but I'm too cowardly to come and talk to you humanly and face to face and ask for it. Or write it down humanly and ask for it. You are doing witchcraft. It is unrighteous. It's not of Elohim. I shouldn't have to address this every single day. You know you're working witchcraft. You know it's evil. Sending someone from a completely different part of town to come and do divinations in the morning or do divinations in the evening. And by the way, when I was over there, yes, I saw a young brown-skinned man walking his dog walk right all up on the side of my vehicle. I don't know him. Don't need to. Don't go there for those people. And I told them that repeatedly, which is why when they be talking about witchcraft and all of this kind of stuff, nobody's there for y'all. So when you take it upon yourself, the other vehicle that was next to me, to go and ride to the side of town that I'm on in the morning, when I used to go to work at what? Like 5 in the morning? I would hear that truck in the morning. What the heck are you doing to come into my side of town at what? 7? 6:30? I'm not there for you. I don't know you. And then the other person, immediately, that's when the divinations start. Then another gray truck. So to say, oh, you was looking out, people were wondering, no. When the witchcraft starts, no. Then they start with the music playing. The witchcraft with the music. The music that plays in Sprouts Market. The music that you might have heard me listening to in the car when I was sitting out there recording a video or something. That music. Then y'all want to start playing that music. And you wonder why me and your employees, they try to tell me I can't wear earphones while I'm doing vendor work. I'm not no, you don't get to tell me that. But I've even seen, and that's what I had took a photo of, two of your employees with earphones in. Yeah, they put Bluetooth earphones in because nobody wants to hear homosexual music all day or other music. And I mean that. Like, there's literally some of the artists and their songs are that. Sometimes you were in the holiday season play Christmas music all day. Somebody be in there 8 hours. They don't want to hear that all day long. Same stuff over. People come on here and want to hear the same things over and over. Again, I should not have to address this every single day. And people are like, well, you started stuff. No, they started things. You were attacking people and attacking me and attacking other people way before 6 years ago, way before 5 years ago. Way before, you're with the paid, it's the paid people. Way before that. Way before I said something and started posting on this platform last year. The year before that. Way before I started going and volunteering at other places in the community as though I did when I was all throughout my life. I'm not there for anybody else. And these other people who still continue to be like, oh, you're supposed to be with somebody else's wife or something, whatever the heck these niggas is talking about. Yes, I'm utilizing that term because it means ignorant. And you can be purple and be ignorant. And the scripture, we read scripture on Saturday, and the version in the Sefer called it what? Oh no, she had a different version too. It called it a NIGGR. And I said, we know that word means ignorant. We know black, BLACK, means death. We know white, WHITE, is not a nationality. It's not literally a nation or ethnic group of people by that. Historically, it is a term that was made up in modern times. People can utilize and ascribe to it all they want. Fine. But I won't. Do I call Irish ancestry white? No, I don't. Do I call Italian ancestry white? I don't. Do I call Ethiopian, Mediterranean, of any kind, Moroccan? It could be Israeli. It could be Albanian. Do I call it white? No, I personally don't. Polynesian, Sri Lankan, I don't call it white. Native, I don't call that white either. But y'all might. Oh, I've heard of the white percent of the world, meaning the percentage of the earth that has access to more resources than the rest of the world. The resources that society deems valuable, but they don't got a lot of the natural resources. Anywho, it's like the view of the town. And they're like, we're trying to help you. You can't you have to do this and be like, well, guess what? If somebody is doing divinations on you, you tell me you're going to be on time when they're in the midst of sabotaging you. You got to overcome their sabotage and ignore it. No, they need to stop. They quite literally sent people to where you are. And they're like, you came over. When you come to charge your vehicle, it has nothing to do with you. If I go to walk on the park, it has nothing to do with you. If I go to walk in a walking path, it has nothing to do with you. If you're out walking your dog, it should have absolutely nothing to do with me. Nothing. Nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. I should not have to be addressing this. One of the employees came over here to get a cart right near the car. Like, I should not be having to deal with this on a daily basis. And I said, you know what they want? They want to start a war. Like with Tiffany's Farm and all of these people willing to ride out. You want to start a war. You want to resurrect the Black Panthers. You want to resurrect the fightings and the bombings and the militia and different things. The ones that are already in Wilmington and stuff that are registered gun owners, and rightfully so. Oh, not just registered gun owners. Not people just knowing and certified and different things how to do that. You want to start a war with the indigenous people? Tribes and clans? Black Panther Party is a political campaign group. You could associate it with that, whatever. Is that what y'all want to do? Y'all want to keep fighting this, lighter skin versus darker skin? This lighter skin versus darker skin. This, I'm so jealous of you. No. Somebody admitted this morning about the representative here. Oh, it's because I said, the issue is they keep saying that they're jealous, they're jealous, they're jealous. You're jealous that you didn't earn your way? That you stole? That you cheated? That you didn't earn it? Is that what y'all are attacking for? Because you didn't earn it? Because daily you've seen, even if I'm going to do the fact that people complain about what I do, try to sabotage me, but you have the nurses at Christiana Hospital talking about, now we're doing DoorDash. Oh, where did that come from? You listening to me? You doing spells on me? Stealing intellectual, you can't, and the man always says, you can't stop me from stealing your intellectual property. Who did I share that I'm getting my intellectual property with? My cousin, my spouse, and a man from a different program. So y'all constantly doing spells talking about, you can't stop me from getting my intellectual property. Are you offended that you didn't work your way up and everyone knows you plagiarized and stole someone else's word and used them for your campaigns? For the campaign trail? For your posting on your website about your campaign, about new and current ideas? Look over history about what your platform was, what your focuses was. Now you got to focus on the things that I said. You bring up quality of life from a business that I started. You wasn't talking about that before. You might have talked about being a parent or education, and they act like education belongs to them when it's a legacy of my grandmother. Oh, you learned that from us? No, I didn't. That's my legacy of my grandmother. Caretaker and nurturing and parenthood and all that. No, for both males and women in my family. But as far as you are concerned, when you take things and you take words, you ain't stopping me from getting your intellectual property. And they try to say, it's just the people online. Oh, yeah? Because they know my cousin's brother is owner of that company over there. No, only the people in Delaware know that, or only the people who looked up. Oh yeah, because the people who are looking up records at the Morris Hospital, those people online weren't looking that stuff up. Oh yeah, the people up looking up the history of the DuPonts. Stop sitting here acting like y'all don't have evidence of all these people. Oh yeah, you're not getting how you prove witchcraft because you're doing it to all these other two people too. You pulling guns out on people at stoplights, women and babies. Sending young boys to do that, making it seem like, oh, it's a thing in the Wilmington community. No, y'all legislators, y'all politicians, and then you're like, you put in unnecessary pressure on us. What are we supposed to do about it? What did David, what did Joseph, and what did Moses do about these things? They were presiding over the right ruling. They weren't sitting there with, oh my gosh, this person has a headache today. Let me address their headache. They are feeling anxious. Let me address it. Now, if someone came to you for wise counsel about that and you ask them for prayer, you ask them for prayer. You ask them for what the scripture says about it. Not let me do spells on you to figure out what I should do or to make myself feel better. That's what the wicked does. You literally can see, like I said, someone earning their way every day if they're doing Amazon, which I've done. If they work at Walmart. If they work at places like the sub shops and stuff. If they are doing deliveries. You can see that. And so people started to get jealous. Yes, I met guys like 3 years ago or 4 years ago before I even started doing those things as a secondary, not a secondary, as other alternatives who would do. They were like, okay, yeah, I do. I make sure I do $250 a day so that I can make my ends meet and pay for and provide for my family and different things like that. I don't know if they did 7 days a week. I didn't ask them how many days, but I know I did the math. And if you do $300 a day for 6 days a week, it is over $93,000 a year. Hence why Uber and all of that, you use, I think there's the different kinds, but nonetheless, you can do nanny pickups and stuff. There's more things added to the platform. I'm not selling that as alternatives because it's not for everybody. And absolutely, you can provide for yourself more efficiently than what you could get by the hour with any of those options. Any one of them. However, some people, it is the better option for them to be flexible and to be in a 9 to 5, to be in a corporate setting, to be boggled down. There are reasons and points as to why you would do that. The reason I address something in the moment, because I was taught to do that by my mother. I'm not going to go into work and being all frazzled and distracted and being all under witchcraft and walking all slow and being all delayed moment by moment because people wanted to be doing spells yesterday and people wanted to be doing spells this morning. Y'all want people to be delayed all day long and all your life. Oh, you told us you were doing this, so now we want to get in the way of it. Oh, you was going to be doing some pampering last night, doing your facial. Oh, I'm going to make you tired. This is how sadistic and wicked and disgusting these people are. I'm going to track your every move. I'm going to try to track your every move. Oh, what are you doing tonight? Oh, you were sitting out here. Oh, you were reading. Oh, you're talking on the phone with somebody. Oh, I heard you wanted to do you were going to do a facials and all. You were going to be pampering yourself last night. Oh, I'm going to do a spell to make you slothful and tired. Just anything that is righteous. Oh, and that's why I was like, no wonder they say you're jealous. I don't have time to, I saw a woman work that as a comment. Like, I don't have time to, I wish I had time to pamper myself or take care of myself or do this or that. It's the social media community. You don't know what we go through. I know my mother had 8 children. And I know she was ostracized by the church and by the community in a lot of things. She did by the labor of her own hands. I know that she was trained to do everything from a little girl, though. To maintain a household, to clean a household, to wash, to tend to the house, to tend to her family, to tend to herself. She did learn more cooking skills from my dad, who was in the military. But I know that there was one person who would assist her in secret because she was afraid of the community saying something. No, my mother is a married woman with 8 children, ostracized. Though things were done in decency and order, not at the beginning, and not in moments. Yeah, Elohim honored, and that's a conversation she had with the Father. My own dad has had conversations with the Father. But I know she's done those things by her hands. And yes, she was there for my formative years. I'm the youngest, there for my formative years, for me to be able to learn, to train me in the way to go, to do things at home. And yes, she had career experiences in communications, banking, hospitals, human services. Yes, she had education. She went to school and went to night school. We went there with her for her continued education. Yes, even in her older years, she continued her education. So yes, I've seen her. And I know there's been some people who have wondered even, well, if your mother could do it, why can't other women? Or why can't your sisters? Or why can't this? Or why can't that? And they always say, it's a new time today. The word tells you the differences, but at the same time, when I meet, the people I know who live set apart, who live holistically, who live naturally, who live off the land, or who farm, who ranch, who do these different things, who do a lot of DIY, have a greater capacity than other people because they're not utilizing their time for entertainment and distraction from the world. It's societal pressures. So back to the person who was talking about pressuring them. I said, well, let me know about what extra pressures I'm going to give into politicians that is not a part of the overall well-being of human life that is supposed to be addressed as leadership. Now, I'm not coming to you every day with saying you need to, and that's what they doing to me. You need to pray for X, Y, and Z because they got a neck ache today. If they wanted me to pray for them, then they should come to me and tell me they want me to pray for them. You should not be doing witchcraft on me to try to get me to go pray for them. Oh, there's a stranger you don't know that you don't talk to has a backache today, and you should be praying for them. Well, you know about it. Maybe you should be praying for them. And maybe you should also, if they want prayer, tell them to contact me as a human being directly and ask for it. And maybe the other people with politics and otherwise, tell me how you're being pressured outside of what is righteous by what I'm saying. Tell me how I'm pressuring you to anxieties, to depression, to oppression, to things that are unrighteous, rather than being informed and being aware and being mindful of what the word says is the responsibility of leadership. Leadership, I ain't calling you a leader, but leadership of servitude, public service. I have to go, but I hate when people are doing these things daily as a direct sabotage. Oh, well, this is how we feel. Nobody has to be on my channel. I told them repeatedly they weren't welcome. And so then they want me to feel pity for them when they are listening to and watching and looking over my stuff, or listening to other people who tell them about it. You don't want to hold accountability. You don't have accountability. I don't have accountability to a person who doesn't go to Elohim for prayer. You want prayer, open your mouth and say you want prayer. They always used to say that, closed mouths don't get fed. He says seek, knock, ask. And you refuse, you want to be silent. And you be like, oh, everybody should pity you because you're silent. No, we shouldn't. I should not pity you because you're silent. Oh, you won't knock, you won't seek, and you won't ask. Oh, well, I saw Elohim for a week. And then they're like, it's on you because you weren't fast and pray. No, it's on you because you're silent about an issue and a grievance you have, and I'm not, and you're mad about it. Or, oh, you don't understand this, and you won't communicate about it, and you're mad about it. Oh, because this and that is being made up, and no, it's not. Go straight to the news articles. Go straight to the news. Go straight to the people in the community and ask them their testimony. Like you telling me I'm supposed to be doing. To pray for them. If they want prayer, they ask me for prayer. I get a prayer list every week, like I said. But the person who won't open up their mouth, won't go to Elohim. Oh, how is somebody supposed to know? Oh, I'm going to get somebody to do witchcraft on you so you can know what's going on with us and how we feel. No, they need to learn to speak up. And do it in the way the word says. I have to do the same thing. I don't get to be like, oh, I wanted you to pray for me, Mom, but I just thought you would know in your mind because I was telling Elohim you should know, and I was telling my sister you should know, and I got my sister to do some spells on you to make you do it. What? No, we don't do that. We don't. Just so you know, we don't do that. You want a war for stupid stuff. You want to fight for stupid stuff, and you want to say, oh, people are taking advantage. Stop doing witchcraft. How is somebody taking advantage of you by you harming them and you assaulting them on a daily basis? By them literally and repeatedly telling you, Elohim says what you're doing is witchcraft, it needs to cease. I don't need you to help me with time or anything like that. It needs to cease. Don't call me at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. It needs to cease. If you tell somebody that, and then these people that lie are like, oh, it's the mark of the beast or this or that. No, Elohim said you're deceived. Not I'm being deceived. They're coming in a spirit of deceit. Nobody's trying to get over on you and not do things righteously or just do whatever. Oh, I had to go drop off of my children this morning. That's why I was not on time or this and that. That happens to people. And at the same time, and I can't just drag my son or drag my daughter in certain ways just to get here. I'm having consideration at the same time. It's like you don't get to assault me all night and all morning and then be like, well, what happened? What happened? Stop. Stop doing witchcraft.